Hi everyone, and thanks for joining our exclusive webinar today on after-sales digital commerce for manufacturing companies. My name is Falk Brouwer, and for the past decade I've been helping large and mid-sized manufacturing firms to transform their business through digital sales. With me today, fantastic guest speakers to explore today's topic from different angles. Each one of them is veteran in discrete manufacturing or customer experience. From InMindCloud, we have Karan, our CTO, and Sebastian from Product Management, who can add fantastic insights from combined more than 3 decades of customer experience. Next, we have our industry guest from Satisloh. Satisloh is the market leader for optical machinery. We are happy to welcome Will Daniels, who is key in transforming Satisloh's after-sales business. Last but not least, we have Chris and Gabriel from G2. G2 is a peer review-based analyst platform. Thanks everybody for being here. We look forward to hearing from you on why digital commerce is so important for manufacturing and what to look out for when engaging on this journey. Thanks also to the audience for joining today. We will answer questions online using our Q&A tool, and we will have a live Q&A at the end. So feel free to post your questions anytime during the webinar. Let me start with something a bit unrelated but very impressive, demonstrating the impact of digital offerings in the world. COVID has not only changed the world, but also us. Going digital is simply a necessity. And the Disney stock price shows it quite impactful. Just the announcement of a digital offering made the stock price jump 50%, with an additional spike on the launch in US. COVID took the revenue streams from Disney's with respect to closed cinemas and parks. But after the launch of the digital offerings in Europe, the stock recovered greatly. So what the hell has this to do with after-sales e-commerce as the topic for today's webinar? Everything. We have been talking about B2B commerce and manufacturing for a few years. There are also plenty of reports out there arguing manufacturing business like yours need to invest into digital commerce. On the other hand, we have long been speaking about after-sales being the next key pillar to grow revenue. And this includes everything from spare parts to maintenance, pay-as-you-go models, and so on. Which is not only about the more futuristic usage-based charging, leveraging IoT, but also about creating continuous revenue streams via wear parts or consumables. Let's take a step back for a second and look at what the market condition was pre-COVID. Accenture said at the time that 20% of all industrial purchases will be online by 2025. And here are a few stats from a pre-COVID survey underlying this statement. 69% of the buyers wanted to have an omni-channel experience. 67% are influenced by online channels. 61% only look online for vendors to compile a potential vendor list. And 58% start their buying journey online. Most important, buyers who bought digitally are 2 to 8 times more likely to purchase from the business again. The last statement is especially true for after sales. And what happened when COVID hit us? Here an interesting recent McKinsey survey that looks at the B2B seller sentiment on which channel is more important. Traditional sales interactions or digital sales interactions. Before COVID, it was quite balanced. After, the importance of direct interactions dropped significantly in the perception, and the perceived need to interact on digital channels jumped up by 50%. That means today, 2/3 of all B2B sellers say that digital is more important than traditional sales interactions. IBM actually said recently that their studies show that COVID accelerated the trend towards B2B commerce by at least 5 years. Before handing over to my first guest speaker, let's take a closer look on after sales. What is it worth and where's the return on investment? So first of all, after-sales revenue contribution can vary largely. Industry leaders can do up to 60% of their total revenue through after-sales. Others are at 10%, having a huge potential to grow. If you play it right, margins in after-sales can be 15 to 20% higher than in net new sales, also due to reduced cost of sales. Customer satisfaction increases usually by 10 to 20%. And more importantly, you can tap on net new recurring revenue streams. One example is, as mentioned before, pay-per-use business models are used in the packaging and life science industry. But also in machinery, you can create pay-per-use business models around consumables and wear parts. With this high-level introduction to today's topic, let me hand the word to Will Daniels, Head of Global Aftermarket Operations at Satisloh. Hi Will, you have been with Satisloh when it was only Satis, now for 20 years and worked in all possible go-to-market roles, from sales manager to regional director to head of global customer experience and now head of global aftermarket operations. Can you tell us a little bit more about Satisloh's approach to aftermarket sales and its relation to commerce?
Thanks for the introduction, Falk. Let me start by playing a short video about Satisloh and what we do. I'll also introduce you to our experience and business transformation and explain why our aftermarket sales amount to about 60% of our revenue today. The machine industry has changed significantly even before COVID. And Satisloh might be a few years ahead of the industry just because of a few differences in our product. The promise of 3D printing, or to produce the product in a lot size of one, close to the customer, is a reality for us. With the invention of freeform progressive lenses, the cost per pair to produce a pair of eyeglasses have become more affordable over the last decade, even for medium-sized businesses like small retail chains or small optical labs. Providing a flawless stream of spare parts with easy and convenient ordering and very low lead times is very critical for this segment. As a small to medium business with a few machines, you just can't afford to have longer downtimes or longer lead times. As we go further down the market, pay-as-you-go business models have become a game changer for Satisloh. This comes via consumables and wear parts like cooling liquids, milling wheels, and preventive maintenance parts. And that is also the reason why we created a separate business unit for consumables in the year 2000 and for spare parts and services in 2016. Satisloh is an independent vendor, but we are also part of the Essilor-Luxottica group, which is all about improving lives by improving sight. And in this context, you can see the real potential. Luxottica supplies the frames and the global retail distribution to the consumer via a large network of retail stores throughout the world, while Essilor produces not only finished ready-to-use lenses, but also high-quality lens blanks, process know-how, branded lens designs, and licensing for branding of all Essilor products. With this, we are really transforming the business and the industry. Since the merger of Satis Vacuum and Low Optical Machinery in 2005, we have grown from being an all-in-one machine provider for spectacle lenses to a vertically integrated service provider that powers the needs of the ophthalmic solution providers worldwide. And central to this strategy is our aftermarket business. Here, commerce with a high level of convenience, ease of use, and agility is the cornerstone that helps us scale and boost customer loyalty and satisfaction. After-sales commerce is really close to my heart today. I would say that it is the most important initiative at Satisloh right now, but let me tell you the story of my digitalization journey. When I came to Europe from Canada in 2016, I was tasked with improving customer experience globally. We started in 2016 with the initiative to globalize our sales process by implementing a CRM and configure price quote system. Not only did we manage to improve the customer experience, especially with the CPQ that generated accurate and error-free quotations on a global level, we were also able to increase our forecast accuracy by 50% and reduce the number of configuration changes during the manufacturing process by 75%. This in turn led to a 30% improvement in our lead times. 2018 was a special year for me when we embarked on a true global pricing structure. The outcome is difficult to quantify. However, moving to a true global pricing structure that was seamlessly integrated with our ERP and CPQ made it easy for us to react on changing market conditions. With over 15,000 SKUs to price in 16 different market segments, this became very handy in times like today. 2018 was also the year when we introduced electronic consumables order forms for our North American customers. Not a full self-service solution, but 35% of our customers were submitting their orders on a monthly basis up until 2019 via this solution. Even though this old solution was online, it still required a lot of administrative work and was not integrated with our global pricing structure, where we saw the advantage of creating a cloud-based customer sales portal. It was basically a no-brainer to invest in this sales portal. Even today, 60% of our total revenues come from after sales. My prediction is that we have a revenue potential of an additional 20 to 30% in this segment, with additional gains through improved customer service and loyalty. But let me come back to after sales in a minute and quickly outline the future. In the bigger scheme of things, after sales commerce is one pillar to bring our customer service to the next level. The ultimate goal is to engage with our customers as much as possible, as now more than ever they need our support. This year, we will launch a technical service program that includes real-time assisted reality support. We are calling this program Distance Step, and I'm really looking forward to this. The end game for us is to be fully equipped with an end-to-end digital sales infrastructure by 2025. Let's come back to our after-sales business. I said I predict a 20 to 30% revenue increase in that segment. Let me explain. Today, 75% of customers who own our equipment use our consumables, and we mainly compete here against chemical companies or non-equipment suppliers. With the right price and outstanding convenience, we should be able to increase this number by 15 to 20%. In addition, we also deliver our consumables to customers who do not own Satisloh machinery. That amounts to about 15% of consumables business. This segment is very promising as it gives us the chance to win the trust of potential future machinery customers in advance. Next point, and this one is very important to me, is the potential of having more high-value customer conversations and zero out less value-added interactions. I would estimate that 50 to 60% of the time our customer service agent spends with the customer is spent on answering inquiries about part numbers or prices that will now be available directly in the sales portal. Imagine what we can do with the time saved to proactively engage with our customers and improve their business. My last point, customer satisfaction. Spare parts availability that enable the customer to keep operations running is a key factor in our customer satisfaction. Especially for our smaller customers, this is extremely crucial. Breakdowns are lost revenues. To be able to achieve our ambitious goals, we needed to change a few things in our processes. We needed to adapt the lead times with our suppliers and improve our MRP globally. We needed to ensure products are available in regional warehouses. The most important piece of our sales portal is to allow the customers to see the products relevant to their equipment configuration, to be provided with accurate pricing for the items they would like to purchase, to create instant order in our ERP system that requires no administration from our customer team. All in all, we see a huge benefit from every angle: top-line growth, serving our customers better at lower costs, and achieving a better personal engagement and higher customer satisfaction and retention.
Now, I have talked a lot. Let me summarize my point of view. Here is my triangle of success for after sales. Pricing, product capabilities, including service products, and service experience are the three dimensions that drive customer decisions. With adding commerce next to CRM and deeply integrated into your back-end product and pricing data, this triangle can drive a lot of value. The obvious one is faster and higher quality execution and operations. Next, it gives you both the time required to focus on value-added customer conversations rather than handling minor inquiries, both driving a higher customer experience. With the capability of instant orders, we can invent new and better service products, for instance, same-day delivery. We can reduce costs, and in turn, prices can also be reduced. And the customers love end-to-end self-service, especially Generation Y. Service costs go down, and at the same time, you're able to drive more customer value.
To help us dive deeper into the topic, we have invited experts from G2. First, we have Chris Perrine. Chris, you have been working with analyst companies like IDC, Forrester, and G2 for many years. Can you tell us a little bit about why G2 is different and its unique perspective on market trends? And can you tell us more about today's core topic of commerce and manufacturing?
Hi, Falk. Thanks for the intro and thanks for having me. So first off, allow me 2 minutes. I'll introduce G2 and outline why our approach to B2B research is very close to what you see with after-sales business models and the platforms of the future. At G2, we're disrupting the B2B technology buying process by connecting buyers to vendors based on authentic customer reviews that are made real-time online, not paper or PDF based. And in a way, we're addressing the same need that manufacturers address with commerce solutions. And if we look around, we see online disruption happening everywhere. And 2 really relevant examples for us are, those traditional retail stores that are just being disrupted by Amazon and Alibaba, as well as travel. The traditional travel guide, the Lonely Planets of the world have been totally disrupted by TripAdvisor and online reviews. And B2B businesses need to watch out. Alibaba started in B2B and Amazon's going there really quickly. And they're disrupting that direct seller customer relationship. And it's really leading to pure price competition. The reason for both G2 success as well as the need for B2B commerce are very similar. In G2's example, buying software is hard. It's a complex process. And as we expand that to other B2B buying, that buying journey has become more and more complex. In this slide, we illustrate the manufacturing B2B buying journey. And in a nutshell, you can see that looking for software and using G2 for that is somewhat similar to using commerce and other digital channels when looking for machinery, looking for that reliable supplier, shopping for consumables and spare parts. And it's just a multitude of touch points. Many of them appear online or at least digitally in one way or another. And that's really contributing to that complexity. According to a recent survey, 77% of B2B buyers say that their latest purchase was complex or difficult. The complexity in the buying journey is what makes B2B very special. If we look specifically at manufacturing, it goes beyond the online front store. And to keep track of this, you need to look at a whole portfolio of software categories beyond just e-commerce platforms, such as customer relationship management, CRM, configure price quote, often known as CPQ, or quote to cash, and of course your ERP backend, as mentioned by Will earlier. Having said this, let me pass this topic over to one of our experts, Gabriel, who will dive into more details for you.
Thanks, Chris. With this, let us hand the word to Gabriel. Hi, Gabriel. You have been in the industry for 2 decades and started off in logistics, worked with Renault, Nissan, Dacia on rolling out their ERP and dealer management, and came via business consulting into an analyst role in ERP, CRM, and PLM. Today, you are analyst at G2 for e-commerce, ERP, and supply chain. Can you give us some insights into your observations of the market?
Thanks, Falk. Yes, I've been in the industry for quite some time, and I've always been fascinated by complex industries like manufacturing and supply chain. And for that reason, it's really important to me to outline the gaps in B2C and manufacturing sales, especially nowadays when so many sales operations are moving online. However, before we go there, let me highlight some of the demand signals that we've seen recently based on the traffic data we have on our website. As mentioned before, B2B commerce, especially when it comes to manufacturing, is very different from typical sales and e-commerce software. It actually covers multiple software categories, such as CPQ, CRM, e-commerce, and even pricing software, which is critical for manufacturers. And before jumping into more details about all these types of software and B2B e-commerce for manufacturing, I wanted to share a few details about category traffic and demand signals for all these components post-COVID. We have seen quite interesting behavior looking our category traffic on different software categories that are used by manufacturers in B2B transactions. The chart that you see reflects the major changes that we've noticed only a few months after COVID has been declared a global pandemic. You can see significant increases for all four software categories, the most important being in CRM, e-commerce, and pricing actually had the highest increase, which is not very surprising considering that in manufacturing, especially when it comes to customizing products, pricing is very, very critical. Next, I'd like to walk you through some numbers on user satisfaction, but in order to understand how we get all this data and what it represents, I'd like to briefly describe how G2 works. G2 is a reviews website for software buyers, and software users can leave reviews. One thing that many people may not know is that other than text feedback that we gather from reviewers, we have probably more than 30 data points that we also collect and that we use to generate our grids in real time and our grid reports as well. One of the data points that we collect is related to user satisfaction. It's actually a question in the review process related to the way the software meets the requirements of the user. The user has the ability to rate this question on a scale from 1 to 7, where 1 is the lowest and 7 the maximum score. As you can see here in this graph for CPQ, 90 to 95% of reviews are in between 5 and 7 points. So let's have a closer look on how different categories of software and even by company size and by company type differ when it comes to satisfaction. Here we see the data for 3 main categories that are used quite often by manufacturers, which are CPQ, CRM, and e-commerce. For each category, the left chart shows the overall rating in percentage for 5 to 7 points, while the right bar shows the answers for mid-market and enterprise manufacturing companies. In general, you can see a significant shift from the top rating of 7 points to lower ratings or 5 or 6 points. For instance, if we look at e-commerce, we see that 7% less of the 7 points ratings, which is the maximum rating, which means that 17%, about 1 in 5 users, are less satisfied when it comes to manufacturing e-commerce software versus generic software for e-commerce. We can notice something similar in CPQ and CRM categories with 10% and 6% less satisfaction. So what does this all mean? As Chris mentioned before, and I believe he's right, the complexities of B2B manufacturing demand a lot from a sales software. Manufacturing is centered around high-value physical goods with a lot of variance, and as the data shows, a typical sales and e-commerce software is not always the best choice for manufacturing companies. Functionality that works for industries like banking, insurance, B2C, or professional services are just not enough to serve the complex business processes of manufacturing companies.
Our next speaker is Karan, InMindCloud's Chief Technology Officer. Karan has worked in the customer experience software space for the past 2 decades and is a respected thought leader and innovator of front office products and solutions. Karan, I know you're a strong believer in customer-focused innovation, and both at InMindCloud as well as in your previous jobs, you like to spend a lot of time with customers discussing digital strategies and helping them to drive successful outcomes. Based on your experience working with manufacturing customers, small and large, what's your point of view on things that manufacturing companies need to consider when choosing a digital sales solution?
Thanks for the intro, Falk. Yes, building innovative solutions for digital sales is indeed what I'm passionate about and I've been working on since the past several years. While there are several factors that influence the outcome of a digital sales initiative within a manufacturing company, let me maybe share my point of view on the top 3 considerations that are imperative for a successful digital transformation initiative. I feel the triangle of success metaphor would apply here perfectly. So first and foremost, I believe industry-specific context is extremely essential. The manufacturing company is evaluating different vendors and their offerings. They need to go beyond the general purpose functions and features and bits and bytes and truly try to assess the fitment of a solution in the context of their industry-specific processes. Now, my personal belief is that general purpose solutions are, in the new cloud world, similar to what on-premise was in the past. So if you are a manufacturing company and if you end up buying a general purpose solution, you will always end up in a costly and long implementation project involving system integrators and management consultants in order to fulfill the requirements of manufacturing sales or an after-sales service process. And this was exactly the problem with the first generation on-premise CRM systems around 15 years back. And this problem isn't changing with the general purpose cloud-based systems as well. All that is changing is that you're now paying a subscription fee instead of a perpetual license fee. Since digital transformation journey is unique for each industry, the future, I believe, is industry-specific solutions, which comes with a highly specialized feature set to fulfill the requirements that manufacturing companies have in the fast-moving environment today. Talking specifically about after-sales, I strongly believe that the e-commerce foundation required by manufacturers and their distributors must be built on a platform that's specifically architected for B2B processes. The system must acknowledge and handle the fact that manufacturing commerce is driven by the need to connect much more complex products and solutions, complex business processes and data from the back office to drive end-to-end experience across the enterprise. Manufacturing commerce, as pointed out earlier, cuts across numerous software applications, including, for example, CPQ and CRM. And an e-commerce platform built for retail simply cannot handle the complexity in manufacturing without expensive cost customizations. My second point would be related to minimum viable product capabilities needed for manufacturing commerce. Otherwise, customers tend to end up on an expensive journey to digital sales, or maybe in worst case, not even achieve the desired outcome. Let's maybe take a few examples. Let's say you are a manufacturer of complex, expensive machines or equipment. It could be a forklift, could be an industrial compressor, or an expensive medical equipment. Now, whether you are selling spare parts for these complex machines or allowing your customers or prospects to buy these new machines through your digital storefront, you are going to be better served if your commerce solution can understand the complexity of the products and the product variants and the configurations, or the fact that your spare parts in your after-sales scenario might itself change based on the specific configurations of the machine that you may have sold. Mapping sales and production product models is not something that you want to build after deciding for a commerce solution. Or take pricing or order management as a topic, both of which can be extremely complicated, as we know, in a B2B manufacturing context. For example, order management comes in different flavors in B2B commerce, from entirely self-service to entirely sales supported and everything else that may come in between. For after sales, for a smaller standardized product, you may want to get 100% full end-to-end order management, maybe with some minor checks and balances that hits more or less directly your ERP. But for more high value, complex and non-standardized products, you want your direct sales to take over immediately to consult the customer on the best options and the best discount before your competition does that. So the point here being that e-commerce and digital sales for manufacturing requires seamless blending between different applications like commerce, CPQ, CRM, and a tight integration with your back office ERP and manufacturing systems. My final point would be related to the technology aspects of the platform. For digital sales initiatives to succeed in manufacturing, an organization needs to integrate the online and the offline customer experience. They need to blend customer experience with product experience. And to achieve this, you need a cloud-native platform that's modular, that's extensible, and that can bring together data and processes from different applications in a loosely coupled but tightly integrated fashion. In summary, while the success of commerce initiatives in manufacturing and the final total cost of ownership depends probably on several different factors, you need to choose the right platform that's purpose-built for manufacturing, one that is centered around the fit for your business and your buyer's needs, and one that allows for a quick start, but can scale as your business and your buyer's needs evolve. A commerce initiative for manufacturing, I believe, is much more than, oh, I just need an online storefront for the lowest price. And it's also not about choosing the biggest brand platform in the hope that bigger the brand, better the fit, as a best of breed commerce platform built for retail will also not work for manufacturing companies.
Karan, that was very insightful. We have later Sebastian, who will give a glimpse on InMindCloud's Manufacturing X. We will leave out CRM and CPQ and just focus on after sales today. But before we are going there, what's your elevator pitch on key benefits that InMindCloud's MX sales platform offers to manufacturing companies?
Sure, Falk. Since it's an elevator pitch, here you go. One, we offer a 3-in-1 sales platform combining CRM, CPQ, and commerce, less lead-to-order manufacturing sales process. Two, our platform and solutions are purpose-built for manufacturing industry. We actually take a lot of pride in understanding the complexity and the uniqueness of manufacturing sales, and we've embedded some of the industry best practices, whether it's related to configure to order, engineer to order, manufacturing as a service from a CPQ perspective, or after sales for consumables or spare parts from a commerce perspective. And this helps quick time to value and a low total cost of ownership for our customers. Three, we as a company and our platform and solutions obviously were born in the cloud. We've built our platform and applications as native cloud that's modular, easily extensible, and easy to deploy and maintain. And this means our customers can start quickly and scale at their own pace.
I think here's a good time for a little spoiler. As I said, we will today only show after sales. We will be back with a webinar exclusively talking about front store commerce and CPQ for B2B commerce in November, December. All right. With this, let me pass to Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian. You have more than 15 years experience in consulting and product management. Can you help us to visualize how after-sales commerce can look like if it is very closely integrated with the backend system, ERP? Please take it away.
Wow, nice. Thanks so much, Falk. Appreciate the introduction. So that's pretty interesting. If you think about what we just learned and how our industry experts and customers actually see the trends shaping up. So not having a after-sale solution in place for your customers is actually not an option. So it's my honor and privilege to show you guys a little bit of how we can enable after-sales processes in such a self-service environment. Let's take a sneak peek at commerce. So I'm using a logon that belongs to Miles, and Miles works for Acme Construction. He's a production line manager over there, responsible for smooth operations in one of the locations for his company. Now, those guys basically own a number of products and different equipment that we sold them in the past, and Miles needs to regularly maintain a safety stock of important spare parts and consumables for the line that he's responsible for. Now, Miles logs onto our after-sales portal and he's greeted with a state-of-the-art homepage, nice revolving banners that can link to existing, let's say, promotions, new product releases, or any other information that could be of interest to him. When he scrolls down, we instantly show him some of the products that he ordered in the past, so if needed, he can quickly add them back into the shopping cart for a quicker checkout process. Further down, there's also products that he marked as a favorite. Think of products that he regularly buys, or let's say products that he wants to remember, and get some additional information about the same at a later point in time. Now, while Miles was logging in, something really important happened in the background. We're checking his security and authorization rules, making sure that he gets to see all of the relevant data points that he needs to have access to, so not more and not less. This could be, for instance, products that are available in his sales area or equipment he is responsible for. I mean, ultimately, we want to make sure that we don't expose anything else that he's not supposed to see. So he knows that he needs to buy a couple of parts for one of his machines. So let's find out how that works. Now, under My Equipment, we're making uniquely identifiable machines available to Miles. Here you can see the two machines that he is responsible for. So let's just go with this guy. You can then use the hierarchy on the left to navigate through the entire equipment structure and easily consume the information from, let's say, the maintenance bill of material for this very equipment, which is coming directly from ERP. You can also use and apply a couple of filters to further narrow down the kind of spare parts that he's after. But at this point in time, he isn't entirely sure which ones he actually needs. So he launches what we call the visual product finder that helps him identify the right ones. So let's select a few ones from here and add them to the cart. We can also offer your commerce users to select from, let's say, exploded views to make it even more convenient for them to select the right parts that they need. Now he also needs to buy some consumables. So he checks out the respective section from the global navigation bar. And by the way, I mean, needless to say that, but the entire look and feel of commerce can be quickly configured to properly reflect your brand. I'll get to this later if time permits. So once he gets to the respective consumable section here, he's going to be prompted with a few categories to further narrow down the potential products from the catalog. Let's just select this section for now. And then I can apply a couple of filters from the left here to also further drill into the other categories, select the right products that I'm after. Let's just take this one here. So here's a product detail page where I can basically obtain additional information. all of this can come directly from ERP and it can be enriched in our platform. Think of this as a product information management system, which is readily available in our solution. So we got some additional product images here, got some rich text with embedded videos and images, attachments that can be exposed to your users and so forth. Now scrolling down, I can see a few product recommendations. Oh, pretty nice, 15% discount. Let's take a closer look at this one here. Now, please pay attention to the unit price here. When miles basically increases the quantity, let's just pick 11 here, the unit price is lowered. Now, that's because we're leveraging ERP's pricing where we can instantly utilize all of the conditions and rules that have been set up already. Now, in this example, we have a scaled pricing setup where we get a lower unit price if we order 10 or more products. So it's super important that we also provide penny perfect pricing throughout this channel to deliver consistent experience to Miles and all of his other commerce user friends across all of the touch points that he has with our company. So let's just add these guys to our cart as well. And then take a look at the cart. Alrighty, Miles seems now pretty happy with his shopping cart, but he also sees some additional recommended products. Now, we can recommend adequate products to furnish cross-sell and upsell scenarios. Looks like we got Miles interested in a couple of products here, but let's just stop the shopping spree. So basically, across the entire experience, we can propose relevant products at different stages of his buying journey to Miles, increasing the total order volume and eventually the wallet share. So let's place an order right now. Let's just provide a meaningful purchase order. The billing and shipping address we're going to pick up from the account that he's associated with. Miles can review the pricing summary here down on the right-hand side. And we're going to take a closer look at the order one more time. So this is a review screen, which basically summarizes the order information one last time for Miles. He confirms that those are the items that he basically wants to order. He checks the pricing one more time. Everything is looking good. And now he's ready to send off the order, which then gets transferred directly into ERP. So this was pretty much the entire commerce experience. And just as a reference, let's put our internal sales reps hat on real quick. We're going to go into SAP CC, go into transaction VA03 and quickly look for that order we just submitted via commerce. We're going to search for that PO that we used and see if we find any order. Here it is. And all of the information is beautifully maintained in SAP ECC. Now, because this is maintained, the entire order process is already maintained in ERP, we're just tacking into the existing workflow and leverage what's already been established from a process point of view. So we just saw a pretty straightforward process flow, end to end. And obviously, we've built in quite some flexibility into commerce to cater for customer requirements. So all of this is based on a no-code configuration approach that lets you basically configure the solution to cater for your design and theming needs. You can define custom themes. You're able to choose and decide which product filters you'd like to offer to your customers. You can decide, for instance, how they will be guided through the product catalog and how they can discover your products, whether it's an image-based navigation or an attribute-based navigation. And you can even enable custom tabs and embed external applications into commerce. Alrighty, now before handing it back to Falk, I just wanted to quickly come back to what my dear fellow speakers mentioned a couple of times now. For us, after sales is just one piece in the overall puzzle of manufacturing sales. And while we're enabling our subscribers to quickly deploy a commerce experience, it's also critical to look at the entire manufacturing sales process, which also covers CRM and CPQ. We've learned from Satisloh, for instance, how this is an integral part of their entire organization. And by providing all of these capabilities in a 3-in-1 architecture, it's super, super easy to enable cross-application processes and have them tightly integrated with, let's say, an ERP for a state-of-the-art user experience. I hope this gives you guys a better look at what we have to offer. And as Falk mentioned previously, we'll be back very soon to talk a little bit more about front store sales for sales of new equipment. Falk, I think that was your cue now, so handing it back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sebastian. This brings us to our live Q&A. There were not so many questions. If you have more, please feel free to ask now. We noted down a few from the chat and the live Q&A tool. And the first one goes to Will. Hey, Will, is your microphone unmuted?
Yes, could you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. So Will, there was a question on adoption, and I think since you talked about your history in sales digitalization, maybe can you tell us a little bit on, for instance, the adoption of the internal CPQ? I think that was most interesting journey, I would say.
Yes. So the main adoption challenges our users experienced was the transfer of burden that came along with our new processes. As you can imagine, instituting a global process is not easy. And in the past, our sales process allowed sales teams and sales managers and salesmen many freedoms and convenience in the quoting process. And this in turn put a burden on the back office in manufacturing that showed in the form of change to orders, change in the configuration of the machine prior to delivery. And as I mentioned in one of my slides, that was quite high for us, where we were having to make changes to in our production orders. With the new process and with new pricing, global CRM and CPQ, the burden shifted back to the sales team instead of the back office and manufacturing, and made them create accurate configurations and forecasts. So by the time the opportunity was ready for production, it was far more accurate in our production orders. So I would say the biggest adoption was the transfer of burden that went from the back office and manufacturing back onto the salesman, who had to make sure that his quotes were accurate and configured properly. And as I mentioned in one of my slides, that improved our lead times and also improved our change orders 75% from prior to adopting MX from InMind. Does that answer your question?
I think Ariel is well served with that answer. Thank you, Will. The next section of question goes more, I think, to Sebastian. So there have been a few questions about products, their relations, quick time to value, and also backend integration. So I think the question, for instance, how does the ERP integration work? Why this brings quick time to value, and what is the relation between products such as the equipment and the spare part, and the relation between product and recommended products? That would be something very interesting for our audience.
All righty, hope you guys can hear me. Okay, that was a good laundry list of questions, so let me try to put them into.
Maybe let's start with the ERP integration, and I think
sure.
from there we can cover the rest. Absolutely.
So I can see a question from Dirk, whether the integration into SAP ERP is pre-built. So absolutely, yes. What we're able to do is basically tap into, let's say, your master data from ERP, download your customers, download your product master, utilize the pricing information and the conditions that are already set up in your ERP environment, and use that information, obviously, to quickly set up the commerce solution, or set up our platform, the MX platform in general. So the deep integration with ERP is what really helps us to kind of achieve a quick time to value. There's a few a few other portions, if you will, or key drivers that enable a quick time to value implementation approach. One I can think of is obviously being cloud native is really important to be able to spin up or set up a new environment just from a pure application perspective. Plus, in a cloud environment and in a subscription-based model, you're also able to leverage the continuous improvements that we're releasing a couple of times throughout the year when it comes to rolling out new functionality, new features, and new processes, which really helps to kind of drive the implementation project. Other features, I mentioned that briefly in my demonstration, is the built-in branding and theming capabilities. We want to make it really easy for you guys to kind of brand and configure from a look and feel perspective a commerce front end that really matches your corporate design. So from that perspective, we built in a couple of switches to achieve that. That is, kind of the addressing the question from a quick time to value perspective. I think, Falk, the other question was how do we maintain recommended products, and how do we bring especially equipments and spare parts together, which also kind of ties back into the integration with the ERP. So there's 2 points I would like to highlight. One is from an equipment perspective, when we're bringing that information over into our platform, we're actually able to also tap the maintenance BOM, the maintenance bill of material, where we can basically associate different spare parts to the respective equipment or sub-equipment level. So that's the part that makes it really easy for your commerce users to identify which part goes into which spare part goes into which equipment on which level, and does it really fit the installation that I have in-house. The other piece is the you may also like section that you saw in the demo. This is where we can enable meaningful product recommendations and serve that up to your commerce audience. So at different points in the application, we have these switches built in where we can furnish processes, let's say from an upsell and cross-sell perspective, right? We want to recommend products that potentially have a higher quality, and then obviously also from a revenue perspective, a higher price associated to it, so you can actually expand on that as well. So does that help to put that into perspective, Falk?
Yeah, you finished up nicely the laundry list. One more question. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the order history? I think that was not so prominent in the demonstration, and there's a question around that order inventory and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. So for each user, we basically make the order history available throughout the commerce application. So there's a few points, let's say on the homepage, where we quickly show the user which of the products that have been ordered in the past, lay them out so that the user can quickly add them back into the shopping cart and reorder them. In the order history section, which indeed I did not demo today, we also make it very easily to, let's say, either take an existing order and put that into a reorder process. So I don't really have to go and search for the different products every time I log into commerce. I can quickly say that order that I ordered last month, I just want to establish a reorder process here, and it goes through in a very few clicks. The other part that we allow is if there is a need to establish, let's say, a review process from a manager's perspective, we can put all of the orders that, let's say, end users have submitted on commerce, put that into a funnel or in a queue, so that a business administrator is able to kind of review that queue of orders and then decide which of those orders eventually get placed at the ERP level. So we have a staging area, if you will, before we release those orders into ERP.
Thank you, Sebastian. There's one more question for Will. the question is, how many people does it involve for setup and operation of such a digital sales infrastructure?
So from the Satisloh perspective, the only amount of people that it took was one project manager, a global project manager, to provide our requests to InMind. And basically the system is set up once, and we actually, in our case, have a synchronization that happens once every minute. So the system is updated every minute. So our customer information, our product data is instantaneous to the system. So there is no, let's say, update required by a person. However, what we do have is one administrator in every region. In our world, we have 4 regions: Asia Pacific, Latin America, USA, and Europe. We have one administrator in every single one of those regions that has the ability to do updates and maintenance based on their needs. So to answer your question, one global administrator and one regional administrator in the world for us.
Yeah, thank you, Will, and thank you for everybody. That was our last question, and we will finish on time. Thanks again for attending. Thanks again to the speakers. I think that was very insightful. And everybody in the audience, if there are more questions, feel free to reach out to us. Just reply to our email or schedule a meeting via the website. Thank you. And have a good day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.